Welcome, everyone. Hello. Welcome to our very first ever CATA webinar. This is kind of a different thing for us because we've never done this before. And so we're very happy to have you join us. Thank you so much. And we have a couple of people already asking, hey, what's up with the cameras? Why can't I see myself? And that's because we have a little bit of a different format. So typically in a Zoom call, and for those of us who have been doing distance learning now, you might have some experience with the Zoom call. You can kind of see everybody's faces. Because we had nearly 200 people register for this event, we decided to convert it into a Zoom webinar. So these are the 12 panelists that are here to help share information with you. And the panelists are going to be sharing their ideas with you. You'll have an opportunity to share your ideas as well. We have a few different ways for you to do that. And so we just want to, first of all, we'll start off by doing some housekeeping. And Lindsay, if I forget something, then please let me know. So first of all, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do a quick screen share, and then we're going to come back to introduce our presenters. But I'm going to go ahead and share what we have here. So we'd like to welcome you. I'm going to go ahead and click all these notifications off. So welcome officially to CATA Presents Supporting Campus Culture During Distance Learning. We have a couple different ways that you can tap into and kind of interact with our panelists and with each other. So in Zoom, there's a chat and there's a Q&A. So if you want to ask a question so that will be addressed, your best bet is to go ahead and put it into the Q&A. If you just want to kind of chat in the back channel, then chat is a good way to do that. But if chat gets full with a lot of great ideas and a lot of chat, which is what it's designed for, we may miss your question. So if you have a specific question that you would like addressed by the panel or addressed by somebody else in our audience this evening, then make sure to put it in the Q&A rather than in the chat. Also, if you registered for this webinar before 6:30 p.m., then you should have gotten an invitation in Google Drive to see this slideshow that you see right here. So this slideshow, you have the ability, everybody should have the ability to comment. So if you have an idea that you want to share that's on that specific topic, go ahead and insert a comment. You go up to the top, insert comment, and then you can put your great idea, your great link right in there so that we can incorporate that and everybody can see those great ideas. So Lindsay, am I forgetting anything? Housekeeping wise?
Just gonna add in that this is being recorded, so it's going to be available later. So we've already gotten that as a question. So we will be putting it up on our YouTube channel.
Absolutely. All right. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to introduce our presenters this evening. So we have from Westmont High School in San Jose, we have Laura Saldana. We have speaker, author, and trainer. And Patrick, if you can see the slide right there, that was I wanted to show the photo of you with a full head of hair. Patrick just recently shaved his head. Patrick, what was the head shaving event for this evening?
It was just because it was long and I decided to cut it, but I also encourage everyone to donate money to their hairstylist to help them get through that time, because definitely, and not like buying a gift card, but rather just give them money and then afterwards then go see them again and get proper hair versus like the bald patches that I
have. Well, Patrick, I hope you appreciate, I lifted that from your Facebook page there. We have from the founder of the 4 Seasons of School Culture, it's Stephen Amundsen. Am I pronouncing that correctly, Stephen? Amundsen?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Sorry, my bad.
Okay.
You got a thumbs up there.
All right. Stephen, I think also former Tulare County Teacher of the Year. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Right on. Well, congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
From Loera High School and also a CATA past president, Paul Chilinsky. And then from San Marcos High School, she's currently the Area G coordinator on the CATA board, Bonnie Bagari. And then our current CATA president, she was just recently the host of our most recent CATA convention that we just got in there just in time. So she is now our CATA president from Sierra Middle School in Stockton. That's Allison Gadik. And then Petra Davis Johnson teaches is the activities director at Las Flores Middle School, right? Petra, did I get that right? In San Juan Capistrano?
Yes.
Cool. And then from Ignacio Valley High School, it's Carissa Stobing. Carissa, is that in Ignacio Valley?
It is not. It's
Oh.
Ignacio Valley. It's in
Oh.
Concord.
Okay. Well, thank you. And then our current CATA Public Information Coordinator, she is the activities director at Ensign Intermediate School. That's Lindsay Sharon. And then finally, our leadership development. No, I'm sorry. Our professional development coordinator for CATA. It's Jeff Culver, all the way from the Antelope Valley. And I'm Ron Ippolito. I teach at Rio Norte Junior High School. I teach video production, and we are currently doing podcasts and segment shows. And so we've adapted, and I'm also your CATA president-elect. So hello and welcome.
We have one more.
Oh my goodness.
Melissa Etzel.
Oh my goodness, Melissa Etzel. Melissa. How did I miss you, Melissa? Oh my goodness. Melissa, I apologize. So from Douglas Middle School, Melissa, I'm going to add your photo. I apologize. From Douglas Middle School up in Woodland, California, it's Melissa Edsel. Melissa, I apologize. Melissa is also, she serves on the Area A Council. She serves, she's the curriculum director for the CATA Leadership Camp staff. And Melissa, welcome to you as well. All right.
I don't know, I'm okay.
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Okay, so here's the way I think, and again, anybody who wants to jump in, Lindsay or anybody, if I am forgetting something, then please let me know. It's my first webinar that I'm hosting. So we have some topics for you this evening, and we want to kind of get through those topics. And then I think the format that we agreed upon is we're going to try to address these topics and then kind of spend, Lindsay, correct me if I'm wrong, you're our timekeeper. And so we're going to spend probably 5, 6, 7 minutes on each topic because we want to get a chance to share a few ideas on each one, correct?
Yes, and I let everybody know in the chat as well that we have this set of prepared questions first, and then we'll be getting to everyone's questions. So we're going to get to as many of them as we can.
Awesome. Okay, so so these questions are based on our member feedback and what we've kind of gotten from emails and from other messages from members. And so we're going to go ahead and start off with this question right here, and then I'm going to switch back so that we can see our panelists in their full glory. So first question, where can I find great leadership lessons to share with my students? Because we're all looking for those lessons now, the curriculum piece. So who's going to start off with this? Is that you, Lindsay?
Well, I thought did you have it open on your screen already, the Google Classroom?
I do, yes. Lindsay, go ahead and set that up because I closed it. I need to reopen it.
So just so everyone's aware, the CATA Resource Library has a number of great lessons available, and we've started linking up many of those in our Google Classroom. So we're going to be sharing that code with you again, but this is a great place. If you have lessons of your own that you're willing to share with everybody, we'd love them as well. But Ron's going to be sharing his screen and he's going to show you the platform in Google Classroom where we've already started to build up some lessons that you can adapt and make easy for remote learning.
Awesome.
Okay, so here we go. Okay, so this is the CATA Activity Director's Google Classroom. Now, the way Google Classroom works is in order to access the way that it works with like school districts is if you're going to use, you can only use your school district Google account with your school district. And you can only use a personal Google account with a personal Google Classroom, if that makes sense. All that to say, if you're going to join our Google Classroom, and we definitely encourage you to join, you just need to do it with a personal Google account, right? So you cannot join this with your school district Google account. It has to be with a personal Google account. So, and I think we'll probably put this in the notes, right, Lindsay?
Yes.
Okay, or you can just pause. If you go back in the recording, you could pause. But the Google Classroom code for this is 2Z as in zebra, the number 4, T as in Thomas, S as in Sam, the number 7, and then V as in Victor. And then, so what you will see here if you go into classwork is, and this is kind of a work in progress still, we are building those resources. You can go into the stream and you can see some of the items that have been previously added. There's Petra right there, who added some information on online task-based interviews. And then Annette Damien, who added some stuff on communications. resources from Scott Bakovich. And then speaking of resources, since we're talking about resources, if you were to visit, I'm going to do this website one more time, www.cata1.org and then /corona, then it will direct you to this page right here, where we have all of these distance learning resources, including our conference from today, and then so many different resources from our CATA sponsors, from Varsity Brands, Herf Jones, hashtag I Can Help, Jostens the Harbor, that's the Mike Smith Live series, Houston, just like all, you can see all of our CATA sponsors that have those resources, including the one that we just discovered. Thank you, Paul Chalinsky, for discovering that. The We resources there as well. So lots of really good stuff right there.
And that's going to continue to be updated as we are made aware of additional stuff that's available. So keep going back and checking that periodically, because as people send stuff to me, and I have some in my inbox right now that I need to add in there. So that will be a live document that, as our governor says, it will be updated in real time.
All right, and there was the call to put this in the chat. So we're gonna go. Oh, thank you. Thanks, Lindsay. There's the Google Classroom code. It's in the chat right there. Okay, does anybody else want to address? I'm gonna go ahead and minimize this and go back here. Does anyone else want to address the question of, let me go back to this one first. Finding great leadership lessons to share with your students. Are there any leadership lessons that you have already shared with your students? Anything you've already done?
Well, most of what I've been doing is sharing videos or articles and having people write on that, which is what I think a lot of us are doing. But I'm using my Google Classroom to facilitate discussions and going back and reading that and having them do the same thing with their, like having discussions in small groups within our Zoom calls, which I know that we'll talk about in a little bit. And then I've also had them go through and do what I called a rally game hunt and a supply hunt. So I had them search the internet for things that they wish we had to help keep our classroom more organized. They wish we had to run events. They wish we had to do different things. And it allowed them to go and search for some things and kind of create a wish list that was guided, and rally games that we've never done before and lunchtime activities we've never done before. So really take that time to dive in when it feels like there's not as much time to do that during the regular year.
And Laura, I'm glad you mentioned the part about the using the Google Classroom for discussion. So I think for the sake of my students' privacy, I can't share this screen with you, but I did in my own Google Classroom, I created a threaded discussion assignment. If you've taken graduate level courses online in the last few years, you may know all about threaded discussions. It's basically the idea where you respond to a prompt, you do a reading or you watch a TED Talk or something, and then you respond to the prompt, and then you give it a couple days, and then you allow other people, they have to, in my classes, you have to respond to at least 2 other people. And so I went ahead and did this with my students as well. So I gave them a list of leadership quotes, for example, and I just took it from the 100 best leadership quotes. I took it from a website called just from Inc.com, and then I can share this. And so when I went ahead and did that, then I shared this with them and I asked them to respond to pick one quote and how it relates either to you personally or to our class or to our school community, and then other students had to jump in as a threaded in a threaded discussion format and remark and comment. And I gave them those same types of, there we go. So I gave them these instructions here just to kind of guide their discussion, and in the same way that we would do this in a graduate level class, demonstrate thoughtful reflection and keep your comments school appropriate, relevant to the academic discussion, and then feel free to connect your comments with learning from other classes or from life experience. So I have found that as another way to create that discussion, even when we can't have that live and in-person discussion. Anyone else?
Yeah, there's a resource called The Habitudes by Tim Elmore. It's a series about 5 different books that have just great reading, great reflection questions. I don't have the website. I don't know if I could share the website, but it's basically Tim Elmore, and the book series is called The Habitudes. There's a lot of great stuff with that resource.
And I think Jeff Culver is disappearing into his background, but
there you go. Yeah,
he is showing that right now, and I'm going to go ahead and share that as well.
Perfect. And then some other videos that I have my students watch would be from Eric Thomas, Inky Johnson, or Goalcast. And I think someone already mentioned that. Just picking a video, putting it in like Google Slides, sharing that with some reflection questions that they can respond to, all through Google Docs and Google Classroom.
We're using Houston Crafts Kindness Journal, and basically posting that and having the kids do a reflection on that. We also decided to flip it and do it with our staff. So our staff is doing it as well. So it's going out, and it's easy to schedule. We schedule it as an email every day to go to our staff, and the same thing with our students.
I'm also using Houston's character lessons or kindness lessons, and I've created a Google Doc, and then I can respond back to every student individually. And then our class is meeting every Friday as a whole group. We usually meet in 2 different periods, but we're meeting as a whole group. And then I can break the kids into breakout rooms, which I'm sure somebody will talk about later, but we break into breakout rooms to have further discussion. So it's, that's been a really helpful tool. As well as I'm using Janet Roberts' art lessons.
Yeah.
Just for a little bit of fun, we're posting those every day on our school Instagram, so that kids who just need that outlet of art right now have that that media to do that.
I think the biggest thing to remember, I teach middle school, is that they are trying to learn in so many different new ways that we're trying not to overwhelm them with leadership as well. And so I think the cool thing about Houston's is it's 10 minutes and it's fast. And so that's what I'm trying to do, is keep the kindness thoughts going in and what we're all about as a class, but not overwhelming them and making my class a burden onto what they already have to do for someone else. So.
All right, so I think what we're going to do, my timer is saying that it is time to move on to our next question. So much good stuff. So here's what we're going to do. First of all, if you have, I'm noticing down here in the chat, if you have something that you want to share to everyone, then you just need to make sure that you click to all panelists and attendees, and then that way it will go out to everybody in the group, right? Because a couple people have shared to all panelists, and that's great for us to see. But if you want to share it with everybody, make sure that in the chat you just share it to all panelists and attendees. Another thing that's going to happen is we are going to be, because this is something that was very, very spontaneous, and we want to just get this going as quickly as possible. So as we think of these resources and as we talk about them too, we're going to be including them in the slideshow as well. We'll be curating it all, and then once we kind of have it all together in a format where we're ready to kind of push that back out to you, then we will send a follow-up through Zoom. We'll send that follow-up message so that you can then see this with all of the resources all included in them. Okay, our next question is, there we go. How do you support a positive campus culture when your campus is virtual? So what kinds of things are you doing at your school to promote positive campus culture when you can't actually physically see the kids?
We've done a welcome video, or say hello to staff video. And I just had all the staff members email me a video. I did not put it together. I'm just making a claimer. A student did that. So I just sent all the videos to a student and they put it together. It made kids cry. It made parents cry. Staff was so excited to see it, which then prompted another video by our principal. Questions were coming in. And so he did senior questions. And so we got a senior questions on Instagram, and he did a whole video about all of that, which has now prompted another video by one of my senior Blue Crew Spirit guys who does all my videos. He's like, I'm going to do one for the seniors. So he's taking that on. So just keep the thing going.
One of the things that has been really working for me, I'm going to take part of my year off here, is it's been really working is I've been posting every morning. I do a senior shout out. So what I have is, because I'm also in charge of the yearbook, is I have the whole yearbook that we're going to be done, because I finished it the day we had to leave. And I did that on purpose. I heard about it. I would scurry together. So I have all of those pictures and I have all the books. I'm cutting out little sections of the book and doing shout outs of every senior, like what do they do on campus, what are they involved in, what are they, who they are. So I'm posting that on our Instagram and our Facebook page, social media, all the way across through our fan page, and then on the Humans of Lawera page, and then on our fan page, I'm dropping the Houston Craft goals and doing those things every day. So that challenge happening, and on top of that, every Monday, I'm sending out an email blast to them, everything that's going on. Here are the updates. Here are the things that are happening that aren't so district heavy, because the district's all this. You get food, you get computers. Where instead we're talking about these are the things we want you to do, and coming up with virtual spirit weeks. We just did one where the kids were asked to write a little note to their teachers, like a little like a Instagram picture, and they emailed them to all their teachers. And I'm getting emails from teachers saying, "Hey, your kids are sending this stuff. Do you know about this? It's really nice." I went, "No, I had no idea." But it's all working, so it's very positive and it's very uplifting. So the kids really feel part of what's happening.
Allison?
Yeah, I can't find the hand raise symbol anymore on my computer. So
That's okay. Just jump right in.
I'm using this one. So we're a couple weeks ago, Scott Bakovich sent something out that he does with his involved schools, and he recommended the virtual Spirit Week, and we thought that was genius. So we came up with 3 things that kids can do, because not every kid has the ability to dress up. Not every kid has the ability to watch a movie. So we included, and it was all the kids that came up with this, but it was a movie, a dress up day, and an activity that tied in with it. Like, for example, Monday was Sleeping Beauty Day, and you could either take a nap or, I can't remember what the second activity was. They came up with 2 of them. And then it was Pajama Day. And they're so excited about it. They're choosing 3 winners a day. So we're posting this all on our Instagram. The kids are sending the pictures in to us by email. They're not posting them themselves. And then we're going to keep it going. We're going to have a virtual Spirit Week every week just to have kids connected. And so next week is actually technically our spring break, but like, where's anyone going to go? So we're doing the theme of, the places you can't go yet. And so every day is going to be a different place that they can go. And they've got some great virtual activities planned with that too. But I think just keeping that culture going and keeping kids that connection with our social media is so important. Our staff did what Bonnie's staff did too. And we all sent in videos. I was teaching my dogs about the samurai, and the PE teacher was doing a workout, and just fun things like that. And then our next thing, and this is a secret, so don't tell Lincoln High School. I don't know if they're on here. But we're going to do a staff dance challenge, and the Spartans are going to challenge the Trojans to a dance, and then we're going to tell them to challenge another staff in our district, just to get all the kids connected.
Awesome. Laura, before I call on you, just want to say so many great ideas that are being shared here in the chat. Make sure that you push it out. Make sure it's to all panelists and attendees so that everybody can see it. Yeah, Laura.
So Angela in the chat was saying, what do I do if I can't use social media? And we also have an activities classroom we had students join. So we're pushing out all of our challenges that way, as well as Instagram, so that students can just sign up and join a Google Classroom, and then they earn points for participating in those. And we shout out to Branham High School, because that's where we got the idea of doing that. We have challenges, and then as winners are being selected on our Instagram for the challenges, we're delivering a pizza to their house with contactless delivery, and it's like the most exciting thing ever and not very expensive. Paul, you can't win, you don't go to Westmont. We have other like larger events that we're doing. Like we did a school-wide Kahoot. We have a Netflix thing coming up. We're doing a cook together where we're gonna make sugar cookies all together at the same time, and scavenger hunts where we're bringing everyone into a Zoom and just saying, okay, the first person to get a whatever gets a point, and they're running to do those things. The last thing I wanted to bring up about that is we went through the weeks that were missing while school is closed, and one of them is diversity days. And I met with my diversity days committee and said, okay, what does this look like? And they started by saying, well, on the first day, we usually have booths. So if we had people make videos, it would recreate the booths, and it got very stale. And so I said, wait, stop. if this had never existed on campus, you need to reimagine it. What would it look like virtually? And the week that they ended up with ended up so much better because they had to throw out the idea of doing it as close as they could to what it used to be and saying, what would this look like in a virtual place?
All right. Oh, yeah, Carissa.
Sorry, hi. I just wanted to add on, since my school is, I'm the poverty school and we're 80% free and reduced lunch. So honestly, right now, what we're working on is just getting our kids Chromebooks and internet. And that's been a huge undertaking, and literally trying to find every student and make sure that somebody, an adult from our campus, has made a contact with them. So what I'm doing, unfortunately, my teachers are not sending me videos, but they will send me pictures. And so every day I'm posting like a day in the life of Miss Stobing. And so just so the kids can see that we are home and working with our kids and cooking and going for walks and trying to show them what it looks like to staying at home. And teachers are, and I'm using the hashtag teachers miss you, just so that they know like we're here for them.
And real quick, Lindsay, I know we need to move on to our next question. I will also share, so I teach junior high school broadcast media class, and since we don't have the regular morning announcements to do anymore, we're doing a podcast twice a week, and then a segment show on Fridays. We had kids who said, hey, can I be on the show? And so today we had 3 kids who aren't even a part of our broadcast class. They were the guests on our show today. So that'll actually be posted later on this evening. So I posted the link to our YouTube channel in the chat there as well. Okay, getting on to our next question, and our next question is, how is everyone conducting virtual elections and selections? So how are you picking your students for next year?
I can start. So it's Petra, and I apologize ahead of time. I'm on my phone. You have to plug in your computer when you're doing a lot of Google Hangouts and Zooms. Sucks the battery out. So if it's jumpy, I apologize. And if my dogs bark, I do apologize. So I was scheduled for my task-based interviews on March 16th, and we were told March 13th in the afternoon that was a Friday that we weren't coming back. So I was stuck with not having any of my interviews done. So I scrambled that week and turned all of my tasks into online tasks and created a Google Classroom that the kids had already signed up for, but changed a lot of what we were doing, the one-on-one meets. I didn't have Google Hangout at the time, so we turned it into flip grids, and the kids were doing videos answering questions and prompts, so we at least get a chance to see a little bit of their personality, and kind of streamlined the process, and have been reaching out to teachers when we're missing teacher recs. So in the CATA classroom, I posted my classroom. I mimicked what I did for the kids, and I posted it into our CATA classroom, and the code is there. So everything that I'm doing, all the forms, all the handouts, all the instructions, everything's there that people can look at.
Anything
Thank
else?
you for doing that, Petra, because I'm definitely going to be taking advantage of that. and I love what Lindsay posted in the chat about having teachers send quick shout outs to post on social media too, because that's true. The kids, they want to see their teachers. So.
We also, I'm in the similar boat with Petra. I had already done the task part. I had not done the interviews. And so the last 3 days I've been sitting in a Zoom chat with a waiting room, and put the kids in a waiting room. My ASB president assigned them all times, and then we'd bring them in 5 at a time, and we would do our interview with the other co-teacher that I work with, plus our students that helped interview. And it worked really well to have that waiting room in Zoom and then have them come in and meet. So that's been a great way to do that.
And we were talking earlier about how the waiting room is essentially, if you ever do interviews with kids and you have like the chairs outside of your classroom, that's pretty much what the waiting room is, just in a virtual space. So, kind of the same thing. Yeah.
And I was going to say, and the other piece is, if your kid's not being good and they need a timeout, you can put them in the waiting room after, that gives them a little timeout to think about why they were not being good or whatever. as well. And then the other thing we've done is I took a class or a workshop at the conference. It was probably the last class I took, like on Friday night, and they did an amazing job. And I want to give a shout out to the school, and I can't remember the name of the school, but it was 2 ladies, and they had another guy that did all the videos to do an autocrat with an online application. So I did, we'll be sending out our online application, but it's for 4 different things. So for our freshmen ASB students, our freshman Avid, freshman yearbook, and freshman TV news. And so they're all combined in one app, and you can copy it if you need to, or make your own.
Petra.
And for those of you that are using Chrome, there's also the form publisher. So I did something very similar and made a template. So when the students are doing their application, it comes into a template. It's beautiful. It saves your life. Highly recommend it. And I believe I put an example of my template in that CATA resources, so you can see what it would look like when you're making it, because I'm very visual. Someone's trying to explain it to me, I don't necessarily get it, but if I see it done, I've got it. So my template's there.
Allison.
So the day before we got shut down and sent home, the superintendent sent something out at 5 o'clock saying we could not have any more assemblies for the rest of the year. So we had to very quickly figure out what to do. And we had all the kids show up the next morning, which I realize you can't do that now. We videotaped their speeches, which had a time limit of 2 minutes. Nobody's was that long. And then we just simply posted them into Google, into a drive. And then the teachers posted it out in their Google Classrooms through homeroom, and the ballot was posted out that way as well. And it was super easy. It was, all of our kids pretty much have some sort of technology that they could film themselves, or have someone at home film themselves and send those speeches to you. And it was super easy. If I can figure it out, it had to be super tech easy. And I may have had a little help from Ron, but it was really great, and we had the results instantly, and it was awesome.
And I'm going to jump in really quickly to hear from Jeff. So Christopher said that Renee Garcia from Heritage High School did a great session at Reno regarding online applications, teacher recommendations, elections, etc. Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, but you can still go into the CATA app on your phone, right? And you can still see. Oh yeah, it's all
That's just
it's
not
all the
gonna
beach.
work. Yes, it's still here. The session's called Casting Your Leaders. It was part of session 5 and 6. You could go into the app and just search Renee Garcia, and that links right up to her. So yeah, you definitely have access to all those sessions, as well as sessions back to 2016. Always fun to go back and review those.
Awesome. That's one
The
of the
other
great
great thing about that one is it also sent out automatic teacher recommendations. So that my automatic teacher recommendations are going out to everyone, and thanks to them. Yeah, I think it was called Casting Your Students, or Casting
Your Leaders.
Casting Your Leaders. It was amazing.
All right. Hey, Lindsay, are we moving on now to our next topic?
That would be yes.
Okay. Okay. How are you conducting online meetings with your student leaders? So how are you getting together with your student leadership kids? If no one's going to jump in right away, I will. I'll speak first. Yeah, Zoom. So we have Google Meet built in, but I had already been more familiar with Zoom. So I love Zoom, and I especially love the feature of Breakout Rooms. So if you go into your settings, I don't know if is that part of the free teacher version, or is it part of the paid version? It's part of the paid version. Okay. So I am, for the next few months anyway, I'm ponying up the $14.99 a month to do the next level up, the pro version, which is the lowest paid version, and you get Breakout Rooms. And I think it's totally worth it because with Breakout Rooms, you click a button and then you can either have Zoom randomly assign your students, or you can individually select where they go. We did that for a faculty meeting also. So we had the whole faculty in all together, that first virtual faculty meeting we had ever done. And then my principal asked me to go ahead and sort by department. And so you're able to rename the breakout rooms: science, math, history, English, and then you can organize them all. And then you click and then everybody gets invited to their breakout room. And with kids, it's awesome because especially, if you have all this high energy and all these ideas flowing, and so it's nice for 5 minutes just to send everybody to their breakout rooms, and it's just quiet because you're left in the main room. It's beautiful.
Sorry.
Yeah, Patrick, yeah.
Unmute
Let me,
yourself.
To unmute myself, sorry.
there you go.
You can also pop in to those breakout rooms as the host. And so you could peek in on a group and see how they're doing and then pop back out and go. So that's a really handy feature and worth the money in that way as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can totally pop in and pop out. You can move students from one. If you accidentally drop one in the wrong breakout room, oh, whoops, I was supposed to drop them in the juniors and not the sophomores. You can easily move them. It's awesome. There was something in the chat really quickly saying that the Google Classroom code isn't working. And then just as a reminder, Google does not let school district Google accounts play with personal Google accounts. So if we were to create that special Google Classroom in just one teacher's school district account, then nobody else from any other school district could jump in. So in order to access that, you have to access it from a personal Google account. That's the one caveat. That's not our rules, it's the Google rules. Okay.
John, I was just going to say that I've been using Zoom for a while now for meetings and only recently figured out this breakout room thing like yesterday. And there are tons of YouTube videos on these topics that break it down for you so easily that anyone can do it. If I can do it, anyone can do it. So I would just encourage you guys to look into it because, oh man, yesterday my kids were just fired up about Spirit Week this week and they were all talking at the same time, like you said, and to be able to put them in different breakout rooms where they could continue to discuss was super handy. And then you can put a time limit on it so it pulls them all back into the same room at the end. So.
Yeah, and it's especially nice for those introverts too, who may not want to speak in a group of 30 or 40 or 50 or more, but they're more likely to speak in a group of 2 or 3 or 4 for sure. Okay, any other thoughts on this before we move on to what are some fun team building games or activities that I can do with students online? Patrick.
Yeah, so I got a few different ones, and I'm going to, after my daughter goes to sleep tonight, I'm going to type up a bunch and send them over. And so I'm only going to highlight a few, but I've got a list already of 15, and I'm going to try and make that list longer. So randomly, you could do one called It Ain't Me. And so have everyone draw a life story of themselves, mute the person who drew it, and then someone else gets to introduce that person via their life story. Person gets to then correct it. So I drew my picture. Someone would probably look at this and come up with whatever it may be, and then I would describe what I actually drew in my picture. So that's one. One, if you're closing out a year, I thought it'd be really nice if you have maybe your seniors go and everyone has maybe a Sharpie with them and that senior waits for a moment, and then you could have the Zoom group or whatever, the group discussion, hold up a thing of what they like about that person. And so everyone can kind of go and get that quick love. So that's a way of closing a year out. My favorite, though, for beginning a year, new group of people, using the breakout rooms in Zoom, I'd be all about unique similarities. Get groups of about 6 to 8 participants and give them 10, maybe 15 minutes to come up with the most unique thing that they all have in common. So, for example, we all own The Little Mermaid on DVD. We all were born on a prime number. And the more unique, the better that it is. If we're going for quality over quantity, what happens is because they all have to have it in common, over the 10 minutes that they have, they share a bunch of really quick information and get a bunch of connections between those 6 or 8 people rapid fire. And so it ends up being a really, really funny thing where ultimately I've had people go and share out that they all thought that they didn't make sounds with their mouth, that the outside world couldn't hear that when they were little kids. That's what they shared, or random stuff like that. And it tends to be pretty fun. So you have them do breakouts, come all together. And I've got a ton more, but I'm not going to take up the time with that now. But I'll definitely post that later on tonight and share that.
All right, other great activity.
I was just thinking about the perfect match activity, Melissa, or Laura, that you brought us at camp last year. And I was thinking if and maybe you can explain that in a minute, but if everybody was like, you could see their picture and then as your answer was no, you turned your video off, then the perfect match could be those 2 people at the end. That could work.
Yeah, so that's a pretty simple game, but basically what happens is you ask a question like Coke or Pepsi, and you have one person selected to be the person looking for their perfect match. So if we were trying to find the perfect match for Allison, I would ask Allison Coke or Pepsi, but before she answers, everybody else would need to come up with their answer in their head. Then when Allison says the answer, if you have the same answer to her, you would stay in the game. And we just keep whittling it down until we found the person that was her perfect match. And so you could do that, or maybe have them all unmuted and mute themselves so they could still be seen or something like that, so that you could whittle it down. That'd be fun.
Yes, Chef.
I was actually in a Zoom session a couple days ago with Jen Dustin from the Frank Covey Foundation, and Micah Jacobson was facilitating. One of the activities he had us do was we're doing these video calls and things from our homes, and so it's kind of like the old show and tell. It's an opportunity to choose one thing from the room that you want to share with the group, kind of nice way to build rapport with people and get to know each other. With a larger group, the suggestion was they just type in the comments and just show it on the screen if you don't have a lot of time. But if you do have time, everybody can share for 30 seconds why they picked that particular object from their room. A good way to connect and get to know each other.
Like that. Yeah, Carissa.
Just to add on to that, organically, when we met for our first Zoom, the thing the kids all did was change their backgrounds, like Jeff. And so we then talked about why you picked the picture you did and put it in the background. And then also randomly, they all wanted to introduce us to their pets. So we met everybody's pets. So those are just things that they sort of love to do, and that they just did it without any sort of organization.
Love that. All right. Well, I think we are just about ready. We have one more question, or one more prepared question, and then we can go to our Q&A. So last thing is, what are we all doing for the class of 2020? How can we support our seniors during this time?
For us seniors, we have just decided we're going to take every senior activity we possibly can and turn it virtual. Our senior awards, our teachers are sending in videos of who they're awarding their seniors to. We're going to do a prom fashion show, all virtual. People are doing it in their home, wherever they are, and just whatever clothes that they have, and they're going to submit those videos, and we're going to create that as well. And then I have to give a shout out to our band director. Our senior assembly, every assembly starts with our fight song, and he put together 10 hours worth of our fight song with all the students playing at the same time. It's absolutely incredible. So your other teachers, I would reach out to them because they might want to help out.
Did you say 10 hours?
10 hours to put this video together, and it's a 60-second song. Okay.
I thought it was 10 hours of video.
10 hours of putting it together.
Yeah.
Allison? Oh.
Sorry, I was waving at Jeff because he sent me a text.
Oh. Any other thoughts on the class of 2020, either for 8th graders or for high school seniors?
Well,
yeah,
Go ahead.
Carissa.
Okay.
Sorry. Well, I think we discussed this in our thing earlier, but our Jostens rep just emailed us and said that they're working on virtual graduation. So I'm sure all of the companies are doing that right now. I know we've gotten at least a couple, but yeah, so Janelle's saying Herb Jones is also doing that. So I think you really have to tap into your vendors and ask for help. We're just now sort of getting the news, that we're not going back. So I think it's going to be, it'll be interesting to see what you guys all do, so then I can copy it.
And quite honestly, because I had my my ASB appointments, we just did them last Monday and Tuesday, and we did it all on Zoom, and it went really well for next year. But as I was talking to all the juniors, sophomores, and freshmen, they felt really bad for the seniors. So just beyond just graduation, I think we have to think about every single day leading up to the day that they would have graduated, and do stuff for them every single day, so somehow, or once a week or something. So don't focus so much at the end about what graduation was, but everything leading up to what graduation was, and honor and give them the shout outs and do whatever we need to do. Because I'm realizing more and more that's, I think, where the social emotional help is going to come into play when it comes to this stuff. Not just, oh, I lost my prom, I lost my graduation, but I lost everything that is supposed to be about, you know, every kid that this in California or around the United States is going to say, I never got to go to my senior prom. And it's not because I didn't choose to, I couldn't. So all those things need to be taken in consideration. So I just wanted to throw that out there because it was something that my 9th, 10th, and 11th graders all thought about. And we're trying to think about what to do day one when we go back for the gonna be seniors. So we're even thinking that far in advance too. So just some food for thought as we sit at home in our isolation chambers.
Laura, were you going to say something?
I was just going to make sure that those vendors were mentioned. The other thing to think about people missing are their banquets for the end of the year and their senior sport nights and all of those things that we're trying to work through as well.
Yeah, for sure. Stephen?
Yeah, I saw Central Unified or Central High School in Fresno. They a lot of parents are taking different things that their seniors were a part of. Maybe it was their football jersey, or if they already have their cap and gown and stuff like that. And parents are putting that on their front porch, like decorating their front porch with students' achievements and things that represented them. So I could get a picture of that. I have it. I just don't have it accessible right now. So Lindsay, is that something I can maybe share with you? It was really cool idea. All right, cool.
And it looks like Margie Reed over at Exeter High School. Hello, Margie. Sounds like they're doing something similar as well.
Oh, perfect.
She's sharing that. She's saying they're looking into drive-through graduation.
Yeah.
When you have a smaller community,
exactly,
and you can do that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. What's up, Margie?
Yeah, Allison.
And I know Jill Mortensen at Ripon High School, they're planning on doing their banquet online. So they're going to do a virtual banquet. And so I need to pick her brain and figure out exactly what they're doing, because we had already decided that we were going to do ours virtually with our class and then the parents at home watch. But now that we're all home, you know, that just makes a lot of sense to Zoom everybody in and still continue to do those activities so they're not missing out. And as far as like a prom goes, I don't know if someone mentioned this, but if you went to Castle, you saw that we had a virtual dance, and Derek uploaded the music actually onto Vimeo. Am I pronouncing that right?
Vimeo, yeah.
Vimeo. Anyway, and so, you know, having virtual dances, things like that the kids could participate in too, could be a lot of fun.
Well, yeah, Patrick.
I was just going to say, one of the reasons he went to Vimeo is he did have a lot of trouble with Instagram and getting kicked off so you got to be careful which platform you choose to stream. He had thought he had worked everything out. And then even though some major DJs got to go through with Instagram, Derek got kicked off a ton, even though he put in all the work. So he did Vimeo, but just double check that stuff so that hopefully it can remain live. It was an amazing, amazing dance. We had fun with it with my family, but double check that stuff too.
Yeah, for sure. Any other thoughts on class of 2020? What we talked about when we had kind of our practice, our prep, what we called our webinar walkthrough earlier this afternoon, is we know that with the superintendent, Tony Thurmond, his thing that just came out last night, the letter that came out last night, as well as the governor's message today, I think all schools across the state now, and eventually probably across the nation, we're just starting to deal with this like right now. So I know that, the 12 of us here, we have some good ideas, but there are good ideas all over the state of California. And I think that over time, well, state of California and beyond as well, right? Shout out to all of our CATA members, our Area H members beyond California. So I think one of the things we were talking about was if participants liked this, if this was a good thing, and I love this, I think this is a lot of fun, then, why don't we do this again? And we have some other discussions that I think we haven't really talked about yet. There are some other topics, and we're kind of in our final 11 minutes here, but I think maybe now, Lindsay, is probably a good time, since we got through all of our pre-prepared questions. Maybe we can hit the Q&A for the last 10 minutes, and then we make a plan that we're going to, if we liked this, if this was good, then let's do this again, talk more about, what kind of ideas have you come up with, over the course of the last couple of weeks. And there are some other topics, I think, as well, that we didn't even get a chance to touch on yet. So yeah, Allison.
And Ron, we've already kind of earmarked that the second Monday of the month at 7 o'clock, just kind of an arbitrary time, but we kind of picked that time for an outreach call to hear, what issues you guys want to discuss. So keep that in mind as well. And hopefully we can keep this whole team working together for those. So if you guys can, just earmark the second Monday of the month at 7 o'clock. And we'll see where that takes us.
Cool. All right. So I think we're going to go ahead, and Jennifer Stein asks, how can we find out more about this drive-through graduation idea? So I think that was Margie Reed at Exeter High School. So Margie, hey, why don't you, if you could do me a favor, Margie, if you could send to all panelists and attendees, send it out to everybody, your email address, if you're willing to share. I know Margie's willing to share because Margie's awesome. Because we would love to find out more about that.
Ron,
yes.
Can you add Margie right now so she can jump on verbally and maybe explain it a little bit?
Yes.
Oh.
Let me go. Margie Reed, prepare to unmute yourself, because Margie,
you ready? Margie, you ready?
All right, Margie.
Let's go,
Reed.
Margie.
Margie,
hey,
what's
guys.
up? Hey.
Hey,
talk to us about drive-through graduation.
Okay, so what we're looking at to do, and we're still, in the process of planning it, but we're a pretty small community, about 8,000 people, but we only have about 200 or 300 graduates. 197 graduates is what we have. And what we're thinking is we have a kind of a main drag, and it leads right up to our stadium. So what we're thinking is give out the caps and gowns, let them dress up their cars, decorate them, put their names on it, do all that, have their parents in the car, whatever they can fit in their car. We don't want people out on the streets. We don't want anything, but have the principal, the superintendent, with social distancing, if that's still around back in then, have them kind of across, and if some of the teachers with that social distancing kind of around there, and then have them drive through, and then they pull up right at the front of the stadium, which will be decorated hopefully, and then they just pull up, we give them their diploma, somebody's there to take a picture, and they go off and they go home and do their own celebrations. So that's what we're looking at right now. We don't know.
How cool.
But that's what, we don't know how that's gonna go, but that's what we thought. So people stay in their cars, they keep it to their own families, and it's in and out quickly. They still get to kind of celebrate, they get to dress up, they get to wear their cap and gown, and they get their diploma.
And Mark Lopez just said, make a giant balloon arch for all the cars to drive through with your school colors.
Well, I was thinking that, that would be really cool. As I was talking, I was thinking, that would be a good idea. Yeah. Any other ideas that anybody can think of, send them my way.
Yeah, I have a feeling we're gonna continue this conversation. Margie, thanks so much for joining us.
No problem.
All right. Next question came from Erica Odenkrantz. Erica asks, what teacher or staff appreciation ideas do you have? So what does staff appreciation look like in the COVID-19 era?
I think that right now we have not planned a ton, but I think it's really using, emails and sending letters and, decorating things that you put up for them. I know that, it's just about trying to get it all to them virtually as much as we can right now, doing shout outs and praising teachers publicly for why they're awesome.
Our staff has started a Friday happy hour tradition where we're Zooming non-professionally, and it's been a real morale booster. It's not coming from the kids, but it came from my principal, and we all just get on together and look at each other's faces and cheers. So it's kind of fun.
And we just had our interviews, and I got inspired. The kids were talking, and I'm not usually sitting in front of a computer, but I was. So I was able, we asked the one question, who inspires you at San Marcos High School, and tell us why. And so many kids started picking teachers. So I just typed a list of their answers, and I told the rest of the panelists, you better keep going because I'm just going to sit here and type, and then was able to send that out from the students. So that's a cool way. So maybe they could collect it Google Classroom. We've done that for Link Crew, where we've collected it from the kids' classrooms, and the teacher didn't even know.
That's awesome. Lindsay, your hand's up.
I just, to piggyback on what Bonnie was saying, I think whenever your Staff Appreciation Week was assigned, just send an email out to the students school-wide through whatever platform you use. And I think you'd be surprised at how many students will probably actually take the time to like write their teachers an email, because they do miss them right now. I've had students pop into Zoom sessions just to say hi, just to see me. So I think start small with those things, emailing, social media, seeing what the kids do naturally.
And so many great ideas in the chat. Also, teachers receiving, it's teachers and staff receiving cards in the mail, a Google form, staff trivia night. That sounds like fun. Oh my goodness, Renee Garcia. Hey, Renee, Renee, are you willing to jump on? I'm just gonna put you on the spot here, Renee. Can you talk to us a little bit about staff trivia night? What's gonna be going on with that?
Hi. Yeah.
Hey, Renee. Hello.
So a group of us from work used to always go out to one of the local restaurants and we would do trivia. And so there was already a system set up and we just adapted it to work online. We've been working pretty hard at making sure the tech's all gonna work out. We selected we asked a few people if they would help us out and just do a dry run today with some trivia. We're using Google Meet as how we're going to stream the questions, and then I created a Google Doc that they can make a copy of and fill out to use as a trivia tracker as far as like what categories and what points they want to wager for each of the questions. We're trying to keep it a little short for our first one, so we just did 2 rounds in the first half, a halftime question, 2 rounds in the second half, and then a final question where they can wager. We asked them to like create teams with other staff members and then have a separate like either Google Meet or a text message or something that they can communicate about their answers on, and then they'll submit them through the Desmos. I'm not familiar with it. It's our tech coach who's working on that side of it. And then that's how we're gonna run the whole thing. And we seem to work out most of the kinks, so we're really excited about seeing how this is gonna work. And a lot of our staff is already excited about doing it too, so.
That's cool. Well, great. Thank you so much for sharing, Renee.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else? We got 3 minutes left. We have a couple more questions that are in the Q&A. Ruben Martinez says, what are some concerns that your admin have regarding student activities on social media? Anything different than before COVID? Are they open to your ideas? Have you run into any resistance as far as like promoting stuff through social media? Any thoughts?
I'm gonna say my admin's like, go for it, because they have no other way right now than what they have set up. And so our social media is going absolutely crazy.
Well, and I'll just say for my part, I know that, we have, because I'm at a junior high school and we have a lot of kids who don't have social media. So that's one of the reasons why we push everything out through YouTube, because anybody can view YouTube. So we're trying to, and we still have social media channels as well, but definitely for my part with our broadcast journalism class, definitely trying to push out as much content through YouTube as possible, because then it's accessible by students and parents and the whole community.
One of the things that I found out too, just on social media, because I use it quite a bit, just to get things out. But someone asked about Schoology and how people only want the districts only want them to use Schoology or Google Classroom and whatnot. I find whatever works, and they don't get mad at me because they see that I'm trying to get a hold of kids and trying to keep them happy and on par with what's going on. So it's not just about, the student activities per se that we all are doing, like graduations and proms, but we also want to work on their mental well-being as well. So none of them really gave me any flack. Interesting enough, I got a personal email from the superintendent on my personal email instead of school email, thanking me for what we're doing and stuff. And he sees the other stuff that we're doing, even though it's not the standard thing that we're supposed to be doing, but it's working. It's stuff that's getting out there. So I don't want to say it's ask forgiveness then permission kind of thing, but it's definitely stuff that works. And I find that as long as you're doing the right thing and trying to go about it in the right way, sometimes you got to do things to make it work. Like Schoology just collapsed for like 3 days. And what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? I'm like, well, I'm not going to stop. So we just Zoomed everybody into our meetings and stuff. So I find that wherever you can find that space, that's good. Because on top of that, I know that other people in this room don't just do student activities. I teach history. I do yearbook. I got other things to worry about too. And I feel like I'm learning how to teach all over again. And I've been doing this for 30 years. So it's just stuff that I think that we need to look into, not just social media, but other ways to reach out and get a hold of our kids and making sure that they know as a school that we love them. Yeah.
Hey, I want to give a shout out also, another class that was at the conference. Again, thank you, Allison and Jeff. I think it was something called Hacks, and they did an amazing job of teaching how to coordinate all your social media platforms and not doing it all yourself. That's one of the problems that I've always felt like is an issue. Is I'm a very large high school, over 3,600, and so how do I get that information out, but making multiple accounts kids that you can trust. So I have a social media chat that all of our stuff goes to that chat, and those kids are the posters.
That was the social media hacks by Dan Bowen and Travis Bell. They are from Dougherty Valley High School, right?
They're amazing.
Yes, they have over 5,000 Instagram followers. It's amazing, the social media following that they have there. I think that's up in Danville. Danville, is that right, Laura Saldana?
Yeah, Pleasanton.
Somewhere around there.
It's Area B.
It made me think of influencers. Like, who are the influencers in your school, and how can you use them to your advantage?
Patrick, you had your hand up for a while. Patrick.
I was just going to say I had the privilege of being on the pre-calls for the amazing Castle conference that the Castle board put out, and some of the stuff that was going on with that different speakers and such had experience was some of the comment threads and such were like YouTube Live versus a recorded video and such. And so if you are going to do some social media, there are different risks with some of them. YouTube is a great way to share the videos, but the comment sections of them tends to be super, super brutal. So I might turn that off. They found, the Castle board as well said that the Instagram tended to be a little bit more positive, in part because you have to be an Instagram user and it is your actual use. So as you consider which platform you're going to use, definitely look up some of that safety stuff on each one of them, because they all have their own bonuses and their flaws. But maybe we could get Sandy and some of the Castle board on a future thing to talk about what they did for that conference, to think through some of that, because I thought they did an amazing job with that overall event, and it stayed really positive from what I could see. Whereas I know that when Houston first launched his deal, he had a really, really negative first few minutes with just random people on the internet. I think it's gotten cleaned up a bit since then, but just being aware of that.
Well, on that note, thank you, Patrick. The Castle conference, for the 150 people that are with us tonight, if you did not get a chance to tune in to all 3 days, how many, 18 to 20 hours of content, it was phenomenal. There was a dozen professional speakers who came on free of charge, volunteered their time to just spread this amazing message. And they were so raw and just kind of talking about what everyone's feeling. And there's been comments about social emotional learning on the thread and how important that is, and we really need to focus on that. A lot of those speakers addressed a lot of the feelings that kids are going through right now. So those videos are going to be up on cafecastle.com pretty soon. They have been working all week to try to get the 3 full days worth of probably hundreds of video clips formatted and up. So I would really recommend you take a look at those, share them with your students, have them watch that, because the content beyond the speakers, I mean, the students also doing workshops and things, are some great content for just your class. But if you're looking for them to connect and hear a professional speaker who does this for a living and knows how to formulate a good message and spread positive vibes, that's the place to go. They did a fantastic job with that.
Well, I think on that note, this is a good time to wrap things up. Hey, let's just a big thank you to all of our panelists. Thank you so much for hanging out. And thank you to everybody. I have to let the panelists know, because they don't get to see my analytics here. I think we had something like 188 people register, and at our peak, we were like at 175. So that is pretty good really good numbers, great participation, great questions. And hey, why don't we do this again, right? I think this was a lot of fun. So thank you again to our panelists. Thank you to all of our attendees. And if you want to see the full recording of this, it'll be posted probably within the next couple hours on the CATA Leaders YouTube channel. So you can check that out and share that out with all of your colleagues. Thank you so much.
Can I interject? Thank you to Ron, Lindsay, and Jeff for being the brains behind making this happen tonight, because you guys were the thing that made it hapen. So appreciate it.
It was really Ron and Lindsay. I just got a text message when I woke up this morning. That's it.
It was a labor of love. So, hey, thanks to all of our presenters. Thanks to everybody. And have a good evening. Stay safe and stay home.
Be safe.
Love you guys. Bye-bye.